Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Ooh. Oh, wow. Wow.
That was a hard slap. Like, you heard it on the mic. That was a hard slap. Out of me. Yeah, he did.
Get my wife's name out your mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
I'm going to, okay?
Okay, at the end, that was like a full-on man scream. Mouth! I won't say the other part. What is even happening? What is happening? Okay, first of all, not everybody knows this, but Jada has alopecia. She's come out with saying she has alopecia. So when he made the G.I. Jane joke about her being bald, right? Because in G.I. Jane, she shaves her head. And like a lot of people didn't even understand that because they're Gen Zers and they're like, G.I. Jane, I don't get it. In G.I. Jane, the character in G.I. Jane shaves her head. And so he was making a joke about Jada being bald by saying she was G.I. Jane. And then Jada's been struggling with alopecia, which I don't think Chris Rock knew that from the other videos I've watched of people like talking to him after the Oscars. He was like that guy at the party that, you know, like when you go to a party and there was a fight and like one guy just got punched and that guy's gone now. The guy that punched him is gone. And he's like looking at everybody like, what'd I do? What'd I say? Like that supposedly was Chris Rock. And I think he just didn't know that she had alopecia and they were struggling with that and blah, blah, blah. But even so, like, let's just be honest a little bit. That was even with like alopecia. There's like multiple videos of Jada saying, I don't even care. Like, I'm gonna rock this bald head. And she's like being confident about it. So I'm like, okay, like, yeah, she's confident about it. Like, let's go. And then he makes a G.I. Jane reference. And she was just like instantly pissed. And I think Will thought it was like low key funny. Like, oh yeah, like, you know, it's all right. My wife's got alopecia. Like, they probably joke about it at the house. You know what I'm saying? And then Jada probably gave Will a look that was like, you better go whoop him. And next thing you know, I don't even think like the way Will walked up there too, like his, like he had like a swag to him. And I think he was thinking like, what am I going to say after this, after I smack the crap out of this guy when I'm not even that mad about this situation? I can't even imagine my boyfriend. My boyfriend would never. He constantly talks a big game like he would be like, no, I'd punch somebody. And I'm like, I have never seen you get violent with anyone. And you like I've had at one point, although in his defense he didn't know this, but at one point I played a show and some friends of mine from college came to the show. They were like supporting, they were loud, rambunctious, they were drinking or whatever. And after the show, one of the guys comes up to me and he goes, why didn't we ever like hook up? And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, like why weren't we ever like a thing? And I was like, I'm confused. And he was like, like why didn't we like hook up and be a thing? I said, well, first of all, you had a girlfriend for like most of the time you went to college. Second of all, you're not my type. Like, I straight up said that. I said, you're not my type. And third, that was not my MO. Like, I was not running around hooking up with people. Like, what? I was like, and I kind of like, I was trying to be nice because I knew he was drunk and like, people say things when they're drunk or whatever. And Ben was there. My boyfriend was there. And so I said, oh, well, have you met my boyfriend? Kind of thing. And Ben like shakes his hand. Ben wasn't even around for that conversation, okay? Like he wasn't around. He was over like across the room. And so I motioned him to come over basically like so I could have an out. And I said, oh, meet my boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. They meet, they shake hands, whatever, right? Then afterwards, they leave. And I go to Ben and I'm like, he was hitting on me. And he was like, what do you mean he was hitting on you? And I told him the whole situation about how he was like, oh, why didn't we hook up in college? And I'm like, ugh, vomit. Ick. Straight up ick. And Ben was like, you let me shake that guy's hand. He's like, why didn't you say something? I said, I did say something. I was like, I just like, brushed it off. He was drunk. Like, what am I supposed to do? Slap him? Like, I don't know. And he goes, I would have knocked that guy out if I knew. And I was like, first of all, no, you wouldn't have. Like, it would be amazing to me if I saw my boyfriend knock somebody out. Low key, it might be very attractive. That's probably why Jada had Will do it. She was like, you want to get any tonight? You do? Go punch Chris Rock on national TV. Like, I don't understand what the thought process was or what went through his mind to be like, yes, I'm going to smack the crap out of somebody on live television, and then a show that's supposed to be a family show start cursing somebody out from my seat. And then what was crazy is, this is how you knew he was crazy, is after all of that happened, throughout the rest of the show, they kept panning to Jada and Will, right? Like some joke, something, whatever. And they were laughing like way too hard. Like, when you've like had a crazy moment and you're trying to put it behind you and you're like, I just was crazy and I know I was crazy and the situation was wild, but I don't want to cry about it and I don't want to be upset about it anymore. So I'm going to overly laugh at things. So they would pan over at Will. Will be like, like just like laughing way too hard at a joke that like wasn't funny enough for all of that. Like just wasn't funny enough for all of that. And you pan over at Jada. Jada's like laughing so hard she's crying. And I'm like, that was like, those jokes were like level 2 jokes and y'all are laughing at them like you're at a Kevin Hart stand up. Like, I don't understand. Like, I was like, this whole situation is crazy. And then he wins his Oscar and he does this speech and, a lot of people don't agree with the speech. I think what the real like part that I think for me is like not right is, one, I don't firmly believe it was a bad enough joke to deserve all of that. You could have gone to social media, you could have said stuff, you could have like whatever. It didn't deserve like a fight. And I know some people are like, violence is never the answer, but sometimes violence is the answer. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody is like out of line, sometimes every once in a while somebody just needs their butt kicked. Like that's just fact. But in that case, I don't think that was the case. I don't think it deserved any of that. But he says his speech or whatever. And I think the part that just also just wasn't okay is, all the people there worked their butts off to even be in the position to get an award. And then the people that won the award that night, do you think we are going to remember any of them? No. I don't even know who won an award other than the fact that Will punched somebody and then he won an award, which just overshadows all the things that those people did, right? They accomplished something great to be able to be nominated, and then to win it is even greater. And all of that was overshadowed by that whole incident, which I don't think was right. But the other thing was, I think @Rap posted about this on Instagram, and I was crying. Because again, going back to the fact that when something like that happens and you're trying to put it behind you, you overly commit to the other side, right? You overly act like you're having a great time. You overly, right? And it's just so cringe. So @Rap got a video of Will Smith and it was like the party, and he's like having the time of his freaking life, guys. The time of his life with this Oscar, whooping it up, popping champagne. He's singing, oh yeah, party in the city when the heat is on all night. And he's like, welcome to Miami, women. And he's like whooping it up like this is the best night of his life. And I'm like, there's so many things wrong with this. So many things wrong. Like, honestly, that part for me is like insane asylum status of like, you just punched somebody. And also somebody said something that obviously you found hurtful enough. They said something to your wife that you found hurtful enough to punch somebody. If that's not upsetting enough to ruin your whole night, and then you happen to punch somebody, And now you're acting like none of that mattered. I got it out. No big deal. Now I'm having the best day ever. I'm like, that's just craziness to me. That's actual insanity to me. Like, where was Jada, too? I didn't even see Jada in that video. Maybe she went home. Maybe she was pressed about it. She was like, I just need to go home and forget about all this. But nonetheless, I don't know when this is going to blow over. He's low-key lucky that Chris Rock didn't press any charges, honestly. He really is lucky that Chris Rock was chill enough to be like, no, I'm not going to press charges for assault and stuff like that. But I don't know how long this is going to last. And I still can't believe it happened. I'm still in shock. And I think everybody else is still in shock too. But I am here for all of the TikToks that are happening globally. First of all, TikTok was so fast. Within less than 24, I would say 12 hours, somebody had already created a song that was like, keep my wife's name out your mouth. And it was like, mouth, 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 mouth. Like, just like, had created a song for it. I mean, so much stuff. And I was like, how? Like, I don't understand how TikTok is this fast. I mean, I posted the video pretty fast too, though. My boyfriend sent me the video, I was like, is this real? And he was like, yeah, I think it's real. And I probably posted it within 4 hours. So I was pretty quick on it as well. But nonetheless, the internet is crazy and amazing at the same time. And I wouldn't have had it any other way to catch it on camera and do my commentating about it. So hopefully you guys liked it. I don't think next week will be the same thing. Although, who knows? The internet's wild. But I will see you next week. Peace.